shop at 126 North San Jacinto Street in downtown Conroe or call us at 936-760-1151. Don't forget to like us on Facebook.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are having a great day. Fantastic day. We just heard 1,000 Horses doing Smoke. And before that, Thomas Rhett, Crash and Burn. Cody Jasper doing The Deal Is Done. Love that song. He's coming up at 6 o'clock in the studio live. I'm going to play some music. But first, right now, we have Mr. Art Stringer, retired NFL professional football player. Welcome, Mr. Stringer.
Thank you, Rick, for having me.
All right. Yes, indeed. Let me make sure you're up and running, and there we go. That's it. Now we can hear you. We're all set.
Very good.
Cool. All right. There's this big old movie, Concussion, Will Smith, and talking about Dr. Amalu. Yes. And he had written this paper about, what was it, CTE, is chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Correct.
Man, and it was, again, he did an autopsy on Mike Webster, Steelers center.
Know him well.
Did you?
Oh, yes. Played against him for 6 years, twice a year. Well, a couple of those years it was 3 times because we played him in the playoffs.
Well, yeah. Always the Steelers and the Oilers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. And he had everything was fine with his brain. He didn't have any issues, although he was having problems.
Oh, he had plenty of issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I can remember a time where he was trying for at least 5 years to get some medical assistance from the NFL, and they wouldn't give him any. 6 months after he did acquire some type of assistance, that was when he passed. And the doctor really didn't know who he was, didn't know what football was, but he sliced his brain, and he discovered a lot of abnormalities, a lot of white material in the brain, which comes from repetitive trauma from hits.
Right, like boxers.
Oh, boxers, gymnasts, cheerleaders, lacrosse players, hockey, football, basketball, wrestling, any particular sport, you can incur a concussion.
Yes, absolutely. Now he had done this on his own finance. He had paid his own dollars to find out exactly what was wrong with Webster.
Correct.
And he wrote this paper, and all of a sudden, hell broke loose, to say the least.
Well, actually, they attempted to discredit his
Oh
findings.
yeah.
They sent that guy. They drug him through the mud. He ended up losing his job in Pittsburgh, and he went out to California and became a corner out there. He says in the movie, you can't fight the NFL. They're too powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of us players have found that out. They can play the waiting game, and they have a lot more money to spend on attorneys than any of us.
Yeah. Oh, man, I bet. It's outrageous how they can do that. I was listening to Antoine Randall L. He has a new book out.
Yes.
Or actually, and he just did an article about him. And talking about he would never get in the football arena again. He wouldn't do it again. And then he kind of contradicted himself. Well, I didn't exactly say that. He's backpedaling a little bit.
Well, personally, I'll say it. Mm-hmm. And I recommend to any young kid coming up in high school, junior high school, or even the Pop Warner League, get a tennis racket, a golf club. It's less contact. It's only with you and that particular ball, and the racket is making the contact there. Now, you do have the potentials of ankle injuries, knee injuries, things of that nature, but you don't have that physical contact.
And if you're going to be in sports, might as well do it something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They get paid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, what do you have to say to the kids that are really want to play football because it's really dug in deep here in Texas? The Friday Night Lights and really is a homespun thing here. It really is. What are you going to say to those kids who are going to do it?
The first thing I would say is something to the parents. If your child is under the age of 13 and 14 and they're 10 and 12-year range, those are the most formative years for the development of the brain. Even if they don't make it any higher than high school, they're still going to have hundreds of impacts during their Pee Wee League career, their junior high school, or even their high school. It doesn't just start in the NFL. There has been tests during the same time of the NFL players on high school kids, elementary kids, college kids, and they were found to have the same disease.
Right. And the term "ring your bell" and the term "I just got my," a stunger, a stinger, or whatever it is, it's like those terms are man, they. You sit there to smile and laugh, but you still go ahead and I just got my bell rung, but I'm going back in. Well, and that's the mentality, isn't it?
That was the mentality then.
Come on, you can't think it's changed?
It's changed somewhat, not to an overt degree.
Okay.
A lot of high school teams have implemented programs then, and they are acutely aware of the dramatic results of having concussions, or not even having concussions. A lineman is hitting his head every play.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a 3-hour game. You're talking about getting hit every single snap. Mm-hmm. So those tend to accumulate. It's nothing any different than a young child. If you shake that child and rattle his brain against his skull, you're going to create damage. What's the difference in the two kids running 30 yards or 40 yards apart and running head-on into each other? That's almost equivalent to a 30-mile-an-hour accident. Mm-hmm. Now, it could become 50, 60, maybe even 80 once you get up into the professional ranks, but it's the same damage. Yeah. And if it's their formative years, that damage is still going to take effect later in life.
Exactly, with dementia, with possible Alzheimer's.
Exactly.
And then not being able to walk, have to replace your knees and ankles. And it's just, you yourself, I saw you walking in here. You were having issues, my friend.
I have issues, sleep or awake.
Go, don't that.
Actually, I went to an orthopedic surgeon. He's a neurologist as well, to have a checkup because of some problems I was having with my left knee. Well, if I have problems with my left knee, I have problems with the ankle, I have problems with the hip, I have problems with the lower back. So it's a domino effect. Mm-hmm. 3 or 4 different times of the year, I have to learn to walk differently due to the pain or the discomfort that I may be having. I've paid the price. But if I had to do it again, like Randall would back off, give me a golf club or a tennis racket.
Okay. All right. That's understandable. I got you on that. It's a tough one. I when you get scholarships and you're from a low income household like you were, just all of a sudden you get this scholarship. You're going to college, man. The first one in my family to go to college, and I know I have that feeling. So it's like you're gonna do it. You're gonna do it.
Yes, but I could have went to college on a swimming scholarship, basketball scholarship, baseball scholarship. I chose football because that was my love. But had I known anything near what I know now, I could have loved baseball or basketball just as much.
Yeah, you are a tall gentleman. You could have thrown that ball around.
Oh, yeah.
I could. I'd be afraid of your ass. Anyway, is there anything else that you want to say? Is there anything you really want to come up with? Because I know you have a lot of friends in the NFL, that some are even still involved in the NFL. And gosh, and they can't really say too much.
Well, actually, to make it a matter of record, I have 400 of my former teammates or athletes that played during the course of my time that are no longer here with us because either suicide, heart attacks, Alzheimer's, various depression, and various other neurological disorders that they incurred as a result of some of the damage that they received while playing.
Yeah, because it's not detectable.
No. And I tell you, when we get together, I feel good. I mean, to see the condition that some of those guys are in, and they're still struggling, trying to get some assistance. The thing about it, I'll give you a good example. Under the collective bargaining agreement, our workers' comp here in the state of Texas, I don't even think that the players are covered by workers' comp now. They make enough to set aside money to take care of those things themselves. If we didn't declare that we were physically impaired or disabled within 5 years of the time that we retired, we couldn't file for workers' comp, which to me was a joke. So a lot of us ended up going out to the state of California, where their laws are a little bit more liberal, and basically we were able to acquire some sense of completion by receiving some type of compensation or some type of care from the NFL.
You have to go through all this just to receive some sort of care from the NFL.
Well, it's even worse for the high school kids or the college kids.
Yeah.
I mean, the college kids are now suing the NCAA for the same issues and the reasons that the NFL players sued the NFL. So it's going to be a trickle-down type of situation. But it's really not going to change until the parents change their train of thought about putting little Johnny out there and trying to live through little Johnny to become a NFL or NBA or superstar or sports figure.
What do you think is going to happen about 20, 25 years from now? Do you think it's going to be the death of football? I mean, it's a very violent sport. When you think about it, it is violent.
Well, boxing should be eliminated.
I agree, too. I mean, so is MMA. I agree.
Yes. I don't think that's going to change until the parents change.
Uh-huh.
And when the parents instill in their kids and keep them from damaging themselves, because they're the ones that's going to foot that bill. They're the ones that's going to have to take care of that kid during the rest of his life when he ends up with a bad memory or he loses the ability to learn or to concentrate. And he's also going to end up dealing with depression.
Mm-hmm.
You hurt long enough and you hurt acutely enough, you're going to get depressed. I mean, there's no two ways around that.
And then it's the drug addiction because you get addicted on the Oxycontin or the pain medication or something that makes you feel better, relieves the issue, relieves the anxiety, relieves the pain.
It merely masks the pain from you mentally.
Yeah.
Your body still knows that it's hurting.
Oh, yeah.
So I personally don't take a lot of pills.
No, you don't.
10 units are my pills. And that's due to the fact that you take certain pills, you got to go in every month to have your liver tested. You have problems with your kidney. You have problems with your stomach. So all you're doing is just adding more difficulty and more trauma on top of the already existing conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about depression, then you're going to have those psychoanalytical drugs that they want to give you, and you really can't function.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to stay away from the pills, and I use alternative means of resolving some issues such as my arthritis. Sometimes I can't even hold things in my hand.
Yeah.
They just hurt so bad.
I've seen you. Yeah. Do you have it on a website, right?
Pardon me?
Do you have your website on this?
I have a couple of websites, but I don't have anything pertaining to concussions or sports-related injuries.
Or anything that has to do with helping yourself? I know you do.
Oh, yes.
See,
Eating right.
There you go.
I don't believe in a lot of vitamins and supplements due to the fact that Frontline just came out with a new 2-hour production where they're telling you that what they say that are in those pills aren't in those pills. Like you could go get ginkgo biloba for the brain. There's none in there. And by law, the FDA doesn't even check most medicines, supplements, or vitamins until after it's on the market and there's an adverse effect on someone in the general public.
Mm-hmm.
Then they'll pull the drugs off the market, analyze them, and then there's not one day you can watch television where you didn't see. If you took this pill and you now have internal bleeding or you have this problem, you are entitled to a financial compensation.
If. Well, isn't that what the NFL is doing? It's a Band-Aid after the fact.
Well, medical society is doing the same thing. You go in with a problem, they'll tell you, okay, well, take some more pills. Just take more pills. I don't have a disc at L5 and S1, which essentially means that my spinal column is sitting on my pelvis, bone on bone. The doctor tells me that I'm too young at the age of 62 and having that area fused. So he says, go get an epidural shot. You can get 3 of those a year. You have to wait for another 2 years. Then you can go back on that cycle. In between that period of time, we're going to give you OxyContin or oxycodone. Don't lift 10 pounds. Don't stoop. Don't squat.
Yeah, I know the routine, actually.
So it's actually a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, it's not just the NFL.
No, I understand that. Let's go ahead and take a break. And you want to hang around? A few more questions and play a little music, and then come back and do some more. Talk a little bit more. Cool. All right, we'll do a little Zach. Or first, this message. You're listening to Afternoons with Lone Star. This is Rick the Reluctant Cowboy. I've got a very good friend of mine, Mr. Art Stringer, retired NFL professional football player. Yes, indeed. We're here talking about concussions and injuries in the NFL. Big to-do that's going on lately. The doctor, Amalus, is that how you pronounce it? Amalu. God, I can't get that right. Oh, my gosh. He had also done some found issues with other Andre Waters.
Yes.
He had done, let me see if I can't find it here, Tom McHale. Yeah. And the NFL kind of, not without getting into the movie, but the movie really didn't cover.
No, it did not.
I mean, it kind of like skipped over a lot.
Well, there was a lot more in the movie during the shooting. There was a lot edited by Sony due to the fact that they didn't want to have repercussions from the NFL.
Oh, cow.
So they kind of watered it down. They didn't mention a lot of the players. Basically, they mentioned maybe 3-4 players. Two of them were from Pittsburgh. I think they did a little stint on Junior Seau, and they mentioned a couple of other guys. But neither Mike's family nor Stepanski, I think was his name. Offensive lineman. Neither of their families will receive any money. Neither will Dave Durison, because they all committed suicide, with the exception of Mike Webster. So if a player committed suicide prior to 2006, and it was found that he had CTE, which that big push started probably back in 2009. It became very big in 2011 and 2012, when 4,500 of us actually filed suit against the NFL. Now, the problem with that lawsuit, it was once approved until it went back to the judge because she had a question. Well, you're saying $765 million is going to cover these 5,000 players. However, now you say you want to add another 19,000, okay, for that same amount of money, when you're saying that if they have dementia, they get $5 million, up to $5 million. If you got Alzheimer's, up to $4 million. Well, there's already 500 guys that have already been determined to have CTE. So that money's not going to last.
Not at all.
So now it's unlimited because the players, once again, challenged it, and they declined to accept
Well,
that.
see, that's something I hadn't heard.
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, nobody tells you these things. You don't hear that on the news.
Well, whose show is it? Why would they want you to know all that?
Exactly. That's right. Why would they want you to know this? Well, that's good for the players, though, isn't it?
To a certain extent, but then you still have to qualify. You still have to go back to their doctors to show that you actually have that ailment.
Oh, my gosh.
So, I mean, it's kind of water under the bridge, so to speak. If you can go to an independent individual and have that determination made. To backtrack to that settlement, they wanted $200-some-odd million of that to go towards research. Well, are you going to research us that's already hurt? No, that would be research for the current players. So why should that be? Why should that come out of funds that is going towards individuals that you already know are injured or who are already suffering? And when you talk about the quality of life when you have those type complications, it's downhill.
I know. They were talking about even walking downstairs. You can't walk downstairs.
Oh, I can't walk downstairs.
Yeah.
I can't walk upstairs. I can't even really walk on unlevel ground because my left knee doesn't function properly. It drags on the turf. So that is one of my medical restrictions. I can't walk on uneven ground. So now, how can you control that? Like here, that sidewalk right out there?
Yeah, that's cobblestone.
Austin, San Francisco.
Yeah.
So it tends to make it hard. Even when a lot of us were going to have our physicals, they would make note if we walked up the steps or if we had taken the elevator.
So any excuse to deduct your
Okay. If the workers' comp determined that I am disabled, they make a recommendation that I should continually receive medical coverage, et cetera, et cetera. NFL says, no, he's getting paid his pension. Since he's getting his pension, he doesn't qualify for any of those programs. And the pension is not like $19,000.
No, it's not like it's some astronomical amount of money.
He's talking about maybe $2,500. And I spend more on medication if I were to take medication. My last visit to the doctor's office, for example, I had a sinus infection, bronchitis, a couple of eczema. The medical prescriptions that he gave me, and these were discounted rates, $1,187. Now, I called the insurance company. I said, why do I have to pay $370 for Advil? So I went to Walmart. I got it for $40.
Yeah.
But going through my insurance, it was $377. And that's under this, I'm not going to say that. That's under this new medical program that was implemented by the government.
Yeah, I kind of found that myself. I went down to get every 30 days I need a prescription for my stomach of Zegred. And, man, it used to cost me $10. I got my bill for $2,200 for one prescription for 30 days. I went, oh, my God.
I mean, it's crazy. They have pills out there that cost you $25,000 each. But that's over in the realm of cancer. But, yeah, I had a friend he ended up billing his insurance company over $1 million. He still ended up dying.
So all of these ailments that you're having, you can't walk, you can't, basically you're having issues with your back, your neck, your hands.
Oh, yeah.
And all of it stemming from your time at football.
Yes.
Ball State, college, high school, Pop Warner.
Yep. I started when I was 12.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully, out of my neurological aspect of it is not that far off kilter, but I was told that I have a learning disability.
Uh-huh.
And I said to myself, now, wait a minute, when did that start? I said, I have a departmental degree in business with a triple major, and I can't learn. But that's their doctors.
Right.
It's amazing.
Oh my gosh! It's so disappointing. So disappointing that the NFL can do this to you guys.
Well, like I say, it's not just the NFL.
I know.
It's
I know. But the spotlight is on them right now because it is like you said, the lineman. Everybody gets hurt every single play, every single down. You're getting hit. You're getting something's going on, and it's a popular sport too. Very popular.
Oh, they own Sunday. They own Sunday. Got a big down payment on Thursday.
That's right.
And they own Monday night.
And they own Monday.
Yeah.
So it is America's sport now.
Oh yes. That is.
So to say this about the NFL and how it's America's sport and how we're trying to, better helmets, more cognizant ability for the children to say, okay, I just got my bell rung. I need to sit out and I need to do this.
No, if that child feels blurred vision,
Yeah.
dizziness, his depth perception is changed or altered in any way, if he feels nauseous, then he should go and tell the coach,
Right.
Coach, I don't feel good. There was a kid here in Pasadena last year, baseball player. At practice, he fell out. They still can't determine what happened to him. They want to say it was heat prostration, but it wasn't that hot. Baseball's in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're still trying to find out exactly what transpired with him. That's another thing. Here in Texas, heat prostration.
Yeah. Heat stroke of children. That's a tough one. You've got these coaches that drive and drive because their parents are driving them to do it, and the school board's driving them to do that. And I can see that.
Then the parents come into play. Why my son not playing? Well, little Johnny got his bell rung. Now they'll say, well, he took a severe blow, and we think that he needs to just sit out for a little while. We'll have him tested after the game. Or if you find out that he's dizzy or lethargic or nauseous or he can't concentrate, and if they don't rest their body and rest their mind during the time period that they're recuperating, it could last up to 3 months. It doesn't have to have an effect at that point in time, but the concussion is still there. But back to your analogy about getting your bell rung. I've seen players get up, couldn't stand up, fell back down. Teammates would help him up, take him over to the bench. Trainer comes over. You all right? What day is it? Okay, who are we playing today? How many fingers do I have up? He says, here, just take a whiff of this. You all right? Go ahead. Go get him. And that was getting your bell rung. Now when
But that is a concussion.
Oh, yes. Yes. It really doesn't even have to be a concussion. Just a vulgus blow is enough for a kid to sit out. And you can watch the games now. Well, a couple weeks ago, this guy at Pittsburgh got his clock wrong.
Right.
2 plays later, he was back out there in the game.
Yeah, well, okay.
And you could literally see him when he got hit and tried to get up. He wasn't in a condition.
But the other players said that he was joking, that he was okay. That he winked at him,
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he winked at him because he couldn't see anything.
But it's not his call now.
No.
That's the key to it. The call has to be made from upstairs. And now they have doctors on the sideline. So the doctors, when you get hit like that, their job is to come over and to look at you, not to wait till after the game and then you go to the hospital and they'll run a couple of tests, run an MRI. It's not really going to show up. CTE does not show up on any test. You can't determine whether a player has CTE until after he's dead.
Right, an autopsy.
Okay, and that's too late. That's too late. So they have to put some type of safeguards in place. I think the younger kids need to be trained how to play safely. I think they need to be taught how to recognize that something's not quite right. Tell somebody. Don't just try to suck it up like we did back in the day. Well, back in the day, we weren't even getting paid. I mean, when I came into the league, the first-round draft choice, he got paid $45,000. Probably got a $20,000 signing bonus. There were no million-dollar players. Now, when you hear on the news where people responding to the case that we brought, y'all make enough money. You should have known. Blah 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 blah. Okay, if that's the way you feel. Think about little Johnny when he's out there from 10 to 15, and he's getting hit 200 or 300 times. By the time he's 20, you'll probably be spoon feeding them again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's my concern. Not the NFL, not the NBA, not the NHL. You've already been damaged before you get to that level.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way to go around that is training.
Okay. Training, we stop it by training. Education of the parents and the coaches.
Schools, the trainers, the coaches, doctors, because they're still squabbling. Well, there's no clear-cut evidence that this condition was caused by football. Sure, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they've done a few more tests and they tested beneath the professional level, and they're saying that it's already there. You had mentioned the test that they did, Dr. Omalu. They went ahead and tested in excess of 100 deceased football players or deceased athletes. Out of that were 97 NFL players. 91 of them tested positive for CTE.
Right.
The high school kid did. The junior high school did.
Oh, my gosh.
So, I mean, it's not just the NFL. It's just, the NFL is merely a means where people will become aware, and it's going to trickle down through sports.
But like I said, it is a very popular sport. I mean,
That
it
it
is
is.
nation's most popular. So when it's out in the spotlight and this concussion thing's happening, I'm worried about it in 20 years, 25 years. It's
Well, with this new advent of WWA or all these new martial arts.
the MMA,
I mean, you have guys getting kicked in their head. I mean,
Yeah.
give them 3 or 4 years, and it will be even more profound in that sport than it is in football. You mentioned helmets. The helmet is not going to stop your brain from hitting your skull.
No.
The
Being
helmet merely
shook inside it.
Yeah, the helmet merely protects your skull itself from damage, but the internal damage, you can't put a helmet inside of your head. So
Okay.
a helmet's not going to change that.
Good point.
Even trying to teach a kid to play safely. Okay, if I'm lining up on the defensive end, he's firing off the ball to block me. I got a 250-pound running back that's running through the hole. What safety are you going to teach me? Jump on his back and let him run through the hole? You see tackles like that out there on the field now.
Yeah, because you have a certain area where you hit, and the only place you can hit.
Well, you can't hit head to head.
Right.
That's illegal. But sometimes you can't stop that.
No.
I mean, sometimes you can't help it. I mean, if you're tripping and you're going down and the running back running through the hole and your head's there, he's going to hit you in your head. I mean, he's not going to stop and let you fall.
They've been trained. You go through the block. You dip your head, you go.
Some concussions can be stopped through training. Others can't be avoided.
Okay.
And that's just the plain truth of it. If you go to another sport, gymnastics, those gymnasts take some terrible falls.
Yeah, they could hit their head.
Oh,
Absolutely.
But it's on a cushion, but that's still not stopping their skull and their brain from colliding on the inside.
Right.
It just cushions the body. But the shock is still there.
So it's teaching. It's getting the word out there. Fantastic. So that's exactly what we're doing here. Man, Art, I want to do this again, buddy. Thank you so much for coming out.
My pleasure.
I
Thank you for
really
having me.
do want to talk about this a little bit further. Man, we can get this out in the high schools and get this out going.
Well, I'm sure you all are going to get some repercussions from it, but
And that's okay. It's worth it for the kids.
fantastic.
It's worth it. Thank you, my friend. All right.
Thank you.
All right. You have a good one. Okay. We're going to be coming up with Kenny Chesney and Willie Nelson, Coconut Tree.
Thank you for checking out a podcast on Lone Star Internet Radio. Lone Star Internet Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station, broadcasting from the heart of Conroe, Texas. If you are interested in sponsoring a program for Lone Star Internet Radio, just visit us online at irlonestar.com or message us on Facebook. We are always taking song requests on Twitter, and if you are interested in getting involved with the station, by either hosting your own show or if you want to be a DJ, just contact Dick at irlonestar.com. Lone Star Internet Radio, Montgomery County's community radio station.